All right, welcome to episode 14 of the Solos podcast. Always got to check the number, but that is accurate this time. We are fresh off a lot of interesting, different subjects that I feel like they're all coming together. They're all merging, as is one of the main themes of the
Yeah.
Solos podcast is the convergence and all this. So we left off talking about miracle consciousness and what does a society look like, or even a body or an individual look like that does not have shame, that is not a part of this black hole matrix. And yeah, there's other natural questions that come up. So, welcome. How are you? What would you like to recap about episode 13, and how should we kick off our episode today?
I'm good. I'm good. 14. What chakra is that?
That is the one up high.
Yeah. Woo! Universal Sun chakra.
Yes, there we go.
S-U-N though, not S-O-N, because we're not
Uh,
doing this whole patriarchy thing. The Universal Sun chakra. It's like 20 feet above our head, 25 feet. I think it differs for each person. We have different size fields,
hmm.
depending on like the strength of the soul, I think. Um, and that's the pale gold ray. So it's like a light, subtle gold cream kind of coming through. So if you're tuning in right now, feel this chakra above your head. Know that you don't have to float up there to work with it and to get to it, because that's what we're talking about here is not floating up and not
Hmm.
floating away. And there are a lot of different things that we are given to float away. We are trained to float away, to be floating out of our body and to be looking down, not realizing we're looking at things almost from like a third person perspective. And that keeps us away from miracle consciousness and from these positive things that we've been talking about, like bearing fruit, bearing, not creating poisonous fruit from a poisonous tree, and how that can lead to just being in a state of miracle consciousness. And that's what it actually means. That's what it is, because we're moving into the higher dimension, which isn't as oogly googly, oh my God, glamoury as it may seem at the current state. And that's part of the conditioning we've been given, is that there's this place we're trying to get. We're not there. We're not the person or the being that we're supposed to be, so we need to become that being. And there's this destination for us to project ourselves into in the future and be the character now that is going to be the one who gets into that future. So this is the basis of the inverted ascension, and what then is going to happen through Project Bluebeam. So um, I think the things to touch on, I'm starting to notice that I'm feeling irritated because I know that people aren't watching both the Solos podcast and the Blue Beam podcast, and I'm like, you can't understand the full picture of what we're talking about unless you're listening to both, unless you're watching both. So um, I think if you haven't watched any of the recent ones of Bluer Beam or anything like that, and you're watching this, the themes that come up that bounce between both are that are going to be carried into this from my end are like hypnosis therapy, the programming, the illusion of external authority in the imagination of children, so through education, through mathematics, um, and the Satanic Panic and Franklin Scandal episode, uh, and then how that relates to the hijacking of the current justice system. So I think all that's going to kind of come into a larger picture here of what this conflict is on a cosmic level, and also on a grounded level. I want to get into like, why do these beings do mass satanic abuse? Like, what is the point? Is it just for their pleasure, or is there a deeper tool that is almost like a scientific mechanism at play? And how that all then relates into divine justice and karma, and what divine justice means. Because I think a lot of us are wondering at this point, have we been left? There's a lot of people who questioned if we've been left behind, if we will be left behind, if there's going to be people held accountable who are doing the ones who are doing these things and harming people and controlling people, are they going to be punished? Is there going to be justice? What does that mean? And then we're not supposed to want to think about punishment as an ascended being. So it's all these weird sticky webs that I think we're going to kind of weave together in this one.
Is there a center point to that web that we can kick off today, or what is the question? You kind of mentioned the satanic abuse question. Is that the one we should kick off with, or does it feel like a more appropriate one?
Yeah, we can definitely start with that. I think anywhere. I think we're in the center of the web wherever we are, right? That's what we were just talking
That's
about.
right.
So
That's
I
right.
think we can start anywhere because I think this is clearly the biggest thing, one of the biggest things. It's going to be the gateway to the unleashing of the reveal of what these beings are doing, these service to self groups, the satanic panic, the satanic abuse, the satanic ritual abuse, the human trafficking. That's going to be the thing that is the big domino that knocks every other big domino piece down. So it's like that's our bullseye that we're focused on, right? Because once that happens, that's where then people are going to start realizing it's just a snowball effect at that point. It's like
Right.
water has broken through the dam. It really already has. But the dam is just, it's breaking down at that point because that is what's going to lead to everything else that these beings are doing, which is this advanced technology and slave trade systems and all of the things that we've been talking about. It comes together in satanic ritual abuse, and also what we talked about in the last Bluer Beam episode, which is Hollywood and why it's so connected into Hollywood. So I think starting at the satanic ritual abuse is good, and starting at very base level questions, I think, of like, it's like, what is the point of this? Why does this happen? Like what has your experience been with the frustration, with the just the questions that you have or that have come up around, like, why is this happening and why is this being allowed to happen? Like, what's your experience been with that?
Yeah, I've mentioned on a number of previous episodes how infuriating it is to realize what's actually happening. And it is the abuse of the siphoning of power, and then it's also the cloaking or the hiddenness of it. And there is some truth to, right, they have to get your permission, right? But there's also ways to like skirt that so that they're technically checking that box and they're obeying my free will choice, yet there is an element of it that is going beneath my awareness. And that's frustrating. So the satanic abuse stuff to me is it just comes down to we are from source. When we're connected, we have the ability to create, and there are beings out there, human and non, that are playing this game where they're getting this connection. It's not connection. They're getting this energy, this power from other people because they've cut off their connection to source themselves, and so they need to. And so we're talking very high level of consciousness to implement some of these tricks and um, ceremonial things like the satanic rituals and satanic abuse to be able to uh, pull this stuff off. And yeah, and then there's like a gaslighting that is a part of the formula with like this is what people don't want to look at, or they've heard that there's these negative extraterrestrials that are controlling us, or that Earth is like a harvested planet. And they're just kind of ideas that get pushed aside without any pursuit of the truth or like how this would actually be happening. And this is why we're doing what we're doing with this and Bluer Beam and even the remote view episodes. We're starting to get a glimpse of the formula and how this is all working. And I think maybe to answer your question is the conclusion that like we're the ones on offense. It's the defense. The other beings are the ones playing the defense to continually divert our truth and from us knowing our truth that keeps us on this path of just giving our energy away and subscribing to these systems and methodologies and authority figures
Mm-hmm.
that force us to stay below our potential and like not even close. Like our potential is like I'm still getting a grasp of what that actually is and what it means. But as long as we continue to participate in these things, we're so far away from it. But we're
Hmm.
we're bridging that gap by doing what we're doing with these conversations.
Yeah. Yeah, and and as we talked about in the Satanic Panic episode, like that's where the gaslighting comes into to play, because I think this whole, you're saying participating in it, right? We're participating in it somehow. We're agreeing to it. We're like allowing it to happen. Because on one level, we are being deceived, and on another level, we are choosing to have some aspect of that experience on a soul level. So I think that's where this justice system and what divine justice, how it really comes together, is that victim consciousness being integrated and alchemized so that then the appropriate action can be taken, and it's not being done from a state of of lack, of anger, of, I mean, anger might be involved in the situation, but of imbalance, of inversion, basically,
Yeah, right.
hijacking. And that can only happen when we stop gaslighting ourselves, because we have been brought into this process of gaslighting ourselves as children, to gaslight ourselves with our discernment and our knowing, and giving it to these external authority figures and these systems. And so then when something comes up like that, like, oh, there's shape-shifting beings who have mass networking systems that are using these children and these human bodies, and it's more than children, it's adults too. Sex slavery, sex satanic ritual abuse, it can happen to adults as well. There, oh, these extraterrestrials are using this type of thing, and the immediate thing is the gaslighting process is going to come into it's going to come into play, because that's the concealment right there. And what is in the very base level of the gaslighting is shame. It's like
Mm,
that black hole. It's like if we don't have it right, and if we believe this crazy thing, well, then that's so shameful. So we have to protect ourselves from feeling that shame of being deceived. It's like it's all this process of trying to stop what has already happened to us on a certain
mm,
level. Because again, we have to get back to this non victim state. Accountability, yes, but victimhood, no. Like, this is why I chose to experience the stuff that I did. Um, I did that on a soul level. And that is getting me to a place of mastery, to not be able to give that power away to someone that's done something to me, or someone that did something to me that I didn't choose. Because I think also, like, the someone just not even really in the spiritual space or the metaphysical space, like, they hear giving my power away. Like, what does that mean? Like, how would you explain that to someone who's like, what do you mean giving my power away? Like, what does that mean? How am I giving my power away?
yeah, that's a good question. I think it's consulting authority figures for things that I believe in, and even participating in systems that don't necessarily use my creative abilities for the highest intentions.
Hmm.
Um, that it's kind of used for someone else's benefit. I'm thinking of just like a simple example of like working a 9 to 5 job. I'm contributing to something that is building something for somebody else or some other organization.
Hmm.
So in that sense, I'm not being my own creator of my life. I would even put things that are like in people's everyday of paying a mortgage and like paying bills, and it's all these things to perpetuate a systemic or cyclic thing that you just must do. You just
Hmm.
must participate in this thing. And we try to find the little golden nugget of like, well, I have a house, I have a roof over my head, I have heat, I could keep myself warm. Like that's all great, but it's not. It's there. We hold both of those things. Like it is great to have those things, but yet I'm still trapped in it. I still have to participate in these things. Against my will, if I'm being honest, I would rather not have to pay bills or pay taxes or whatever it is. I'm in these systems that I was just kind of born into, and it's just the way that it is.
Hmm. Yeah.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, how would you explain it to a child, like an
That
8-year-old?
of giving how they're giving their power
Like
away,
they're
or
how they're giving their power away to someone or something or a system.
yeah, this is good. This is good. Um, how would I explain to an 8-year-old that they're giving their power away to a system or an individual? I think I would just remind them of how unique they are and how gifted and unique their own talents are, that nobody else can do what they do when they are in this place of connectedness, of joy, of creativity, of fun. Because when we're in that state, that's when time doesn't exist and we're literally limitless in our imagination and our connection to God. So I don't think I explained that like I would to an 8-year-old, but I'd have to work my way through that a little bit and translate that language and make it even simpler.
Yeah.
It's close though.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because it's like, what does that, like, how would that be comprehended by a child? Because I think a child knows if they're giving their power away,
Yeah.
but they don't have an adult to be able to, like, confirm that to them. They have all these people who are just playing along in this whole power
Yes.
dynamic, and they don't have this adult to kind of come in and say, like, just so you know, you don't have to do that. Like you don't need to do that in that way. And it gets complicated, right? Because it's a generalized thing, so we need specific situations.
Right.
Because telling a child not to listen to any adult is
Right.
like, it's like, well, where's the line? How
Right.
do we what it's important for us to find this line, I think, too. But I think
Right.
it's beyond just be telling a child. It's like it has to be presented and embodied. Like that's what
Mhm.
the child feels. They feel the energetic of it. The Because if someone says, uh, don't give your power away, and then they're going and working a 9 to 5 job that they hate, it's
Right.
like the child sees that, and it's like that's
Yeah.
where the quote, "Do as I say, not as I do." It's like, what the fuck do you mean, do as you say, not as you do? Like, well, that's not how it works with a child's mind.
It's a bit hypocritical. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's why I got hung up a little bit of telling a child something because you want to be prepared with the alternative because they know these things. Like, yeah, well, show me the how I don't,
Yeah.
participate in these things. And
Yeah.
I don't know if we have some of those answers yet. We're starting to, but yeah, what would it look like? And that's why another reason we're having these conversations, right? Of it not being siphoned, of us not participating in these things. What do systems look like that are connected to God, that are regenerative is one of our favorite words to use.
Mhm.
And yeah, how can we start to practice those on a small scale so that we can scale it up to bigger scales?
Yeah. What is justice on a small scale? What is justice in general? What is the definition of justice?
Coming with the questions today. Justice to me, very surface level means fairness. And so you probably ask what that means. I think that means um, but this is coming to me just to be able to come and go and do as I please without infringing on other people's sovereignty to come and go and do as they please. And the justice happens when that doesn't happen, when those things are infringed upon, what are the repercussions? What are the things do there have to be repercussions? How do you curb people who are infringing on other people's sovereignty?
Yeah. Yeah. So what does it mean for the scales of justice to be balanced?
It means that there is a mechanism or a system or a natural law that sort of self-corrects when things are out of balance, when sovereignty is infringed upon, that there is karma or repercussions for these things.
Yeah,
I
karma.
don't like the
That's
way yeah, okay.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, that's you can add more if you want, obviously, but we're gonna anchor that into karma. That's where the
Okay.
bridge is gonna,
Okay.
because that's perfect. Where do you want to leave the free subscribers off?
Um, yeah, I think it's about this subject and going into it and expanding it with the justice system because I think on the surface it's like, democracy, the justice system is allegedly the crown jewel of democracy, of like, look how great the system is. A jury of your peers present evidence, you get um, judged in a court of law. And I think we're realizing that even that is flawed. It's based in a system that is not conducive to actual justice. There's situations all the time, very famous or infamous cases of people being wrongly accused or people not being brought to justice.
hmm
So I think it's an exciting conversation to have of what that system even looks like when that one is left.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so let's use the example from the Bluer Beam episode about Charles Manson. So Charles Manson, we're gonna he told these people to commit the murders. We're gonna go with just the mainstream story. He told them to commit the murders. They committed the murders. He gets arrested and goes to jail. He spends the rest of his life in jail. Is that justice?
If he committed the murders, is that what you said?
Yeah. If he's the one that did the thing and he
Right.
goes to jail, is that proper justice? Is that creating justice if he goes to jail and gets uh I'll add in my little rant here that I
Yeah.
was gonna wait for another episode, was like what we're seeing from this Charles Manson building of the character thing is the glamorization of the cult leader. That's what the original agenda was to glamorize him as a cult leader, to then rise up all these other cult leaders, which happened in the process after